So, welcome all of you to Mindful Minutes. This is as a part of our series that we do on wellness, part of an initiative that we run on. We call it a fuller life. This is our wellness initiative that we run in Tata Power. You're aware we do mention that. Look, we're talking about a complete frame of wellness, not only physical, mental, uh, other areas, including spiritual, financial, social wellness. And we talk about saying that can we do a complete frame? So I'm doing this podcast. I'm so delighted to have one of the experts in this area. I think we will do this intro any which way. I don't know whether I should be doing it because Luke Coutinho is with us, and he is arguably one of the experts in this space, and we are so delighted to have him. He is a very seasoned speaker, thought leader in the space of wellness. He is also one of the wellness champions in what is the Prime Minister's Fit India movement. A person who is a social media celebrity, has written a lot of books. I think something that has really come off. The latest one is Small Wins Every Day. So he's arguably the best that we can get in this space. Really delighted to have you, Luke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thank you, Luke. So, look, we just by way of a little introduction, we do this series. We call expert in this area. We had Rujuta Divekar come in one of the podcasts, and we had a phenomenal session with her. And some of the very counterintuitive things that she mentioned at the time. Talking about the Indian superfoods, what are how to be careful with these fads, the ketos and the other dietary things that is in fashion. How can the fadism with foods go away, etc., etc. But delighted to have you over, and I think I have followed you for some time now. One of the key things that I see is you talk about a full frame of wellness, and I think it's not only physical, it is not only mental, it is the full thing. And maybe I can break this conversation to have your overall thoughts on approaching wellness from your point of view.
Great. So, for the longest time, there have been gaps in healthcare. A lot of people today call it sick care because there are more and more people getting sick instead of healthy, and for the right reasons. The medical system, the nutrition system, they've all looked at human health as a box. You have this disease, eat these foods. You have this condition, do this exercise. And that's where we failed to realize that people are all different. You may have type 2 diabetes. Certain foods may suit you, certain foods may not suit you. Certain low carb diets don't work for everyone. Certain foods may raise your blood sugar levels, but they won't raise my blood sugar levels. Then when we look at the medical aspect, we're living in a country today which is the diabetic capital of the world. Then we lead the second with cardiovascular, the third with cancer. Okay. And we wonder, why are people being treated with symptoms but not getting better? Because when you look at the human body, it's not about the symptoms. You need medicines. Medicines can save your life, but it only treats the symptom. You have a headache, you take a tablet, the headache goes. But what is the root cause of the headache? Was it dehydration? Was it lack of sleep? Was it too much of stress? Was it a bigger underlying problem? So until we start to realize that we need to address the root cause of a problem, like in business as well, right? You can have a symptomatic approach to a problem and, sweep it under the carpet and the problem will keep coming up again. Or you can address the root cause of why this problem is constantly coming up in a company or a business and address it. So everything in the human body is interconnected with each other. Today, we know that depression is linked to your gut health, and gut health is also linked to depression. While there could be several different causes of it, we know that cardiovascular problems today or heart attacks is not caused only because of cholesterol. It's also caused because of stress. It's caused because of inflammation. It's caused because of metabolic syndrome. We know that a chronic kidney failure is usually caused because of diabetes and high blood pressure together. So you see, now when you look at the body as a whole, you start to treat it as a whole. You don't just look at the superfood and say this superfood is going to help you lose weight. The superfood has certain functions that will work when you also exercise, when you also sleep well, when you also look after your stress levels. So everything is interconnected with each other. From the most deadly disease like a cancer to a simple pimple on your face, you got to treat the body as a whole. So that's exactly what you look at. You look at nutrition, you look at exercise and movement, you look at the quality of sleep, and you also look at emotional wellness.
Oh, brilliant. This is what a fantastic segue to, opens up the conversation. Thank you, Luke, for this. When we started out to talk about wellness, and again, this is some 3 years back, some of the team members who are there on the call uh, were a part of making this project. And then we went about saying, what is this? And we were early days. I think wellness now is being talked about more. I said, look, what is this full frame? And when you call it a fuller life, and I think this is the narrative that we perhaps in a loose way constructed our program. But one thing that I really liked, and I was looking at one of your recent reels, is you talked about simplicity is, I'm maybe I'm phrasing it differently. Simplicity is the new luxury, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to you with a context very similar to what we have as a company. Look, we are a company that is quite dispersed, right? We have many plants. Our people are posted in back and beyond places, very far away from even a city, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, reality is they are young people. Sometimes, unfortunately, families are not with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now these dynamics are playing up, right? So what is your advice to some of them that to say that, look, is wellness only the prerogative of the South Mumbai people who have fancy gyms, family dietitians, and the rest of availability on the online framework? So what is your suggestion to some of us?
Actually, the irony of that is most of those kind of people are our patients, actually proving that having access to fancier gyms and better food is not the solution. It's not the solution. In fact, we call simplicity as a luxury because our healthiest patients, our healthiest people who recover from cancer, they don't have money to even buy things like pumpkin seeds and almonds, but the food that they eat, they'd make the best choices. So when you go into remote villages, they don't have access to all of this. Their conditions and diseases are very different from urban cities. They are more like typhoid, hygiene related issues and stuff like that. Whereas things like diabetes, cholesterol, I would call these rich man's diseases because of overeating, access to more food, access to more alcohol. Unfortunately, that's also reached remote parts of, thanks
Yeah.
to television ads and stuff like that, and FMCG companies getting their crap products into villages and stuff like that. But technically, if someone comes and says that, Luke, can I get healthy without spending too much money on food? My answer is yes, as long as you're not spending that money on cheap junk food. If you're just doing even something as simple as rajma and rice, but making sure you get a little bit of paneer, getting one fruit, I'm happy with that. The body can work, the body can survive. So the whole point is it doesn't matter where we are in the world or which part of the country we're in. All of us have 24 hours. All of us have access to 2 or 3 meals in a day. What choices are we going to make? Otherwise, the statistics should show that people in these villages who don't have access to what we have should have the worst health. But it isn't true. They have different problems, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about looking at where we are and adapting. In fact, I would say tier two cities, three cities and villages are better off because they have fresh produce. Most of
Yeah.
the produce by the time it reaches the cities is already stale. It has to be frozen. We don't even know how fresh it is the next day. So in fact, I would actually say it's easier to be healthier in these remote places because number one, you still can exercise. You don't need a gym. You can exercise in your own room. You can go for walks, you can run, you can do runs, you can do push-ups, you can do pull-ups, you can do squats. You don't need a gym for a fit body. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, you need a gym. But we're not talking about that, right? So it's a misconception that the healthiest people come out of gyms. It's not necessary. Sometimes when you look at these farmers and people working in the fields, their bodies are so ripped. The women are no fat on their bodies, they're carrying water from the well. They're just doing simple manual movements, which can be
Right.
replicated outside of a gym. The air is cleaner in these places, so it's a huge benefit. In fact, people in remote areas, I'm jealous of them. They have a way better life than us in cities.
Oh,
So
amazing.
so my advice to people would be keep it simple. But if you're constantly on social media and getting that your subconscious mind filled with ideas that fitness is only a sweaty body in the gym, a big jar of protein shakes, more supplements, you're absolutely mistaken. It's not that. It's having consistency with good food, simple movements, but consistency. Not
Mm.
working out one day and then not working out 4 or 5 days, being happier, being mindful of the content you're consuming through OTT platforms, through social media. These are the things that will change healthcare in our country, not complication.
Fantastic. Oh, it's amazing. I think so. This is so good health is not, you don't need to have a lot of money. Actually, it's very simple to get. Simplicity is the new luxury. I think that's the, you also
Yeah.
talked about how do you feel sometimes when you do small acts. I think I'm taking up from the reads that one has been following. One other question that I wanted to, put across to you is very specifically our company reality as demographics is, and I'll play 2 3 segments of it, and maybe I will seek segment specific advice from you.
Mm-hmm.
One is women, and we have very young women, and early age, third 20 20s, 23 24, joining first jobs. A lot of them are in frontline jobs, factory jobs, sales jobs, so what is your advice to them? And given our reality, given our company reality, they are maybe not coming from that social strata that we all come, talking about big cities. What is your advice to them?
My advice will be the same for everyone. Keep your nutrition simple. Make sure at every meal you're getting your carbs, your proteins, your vegetables. It should be balanced. Okay. Stay away from junk. That's the main thing. Reduce it, minimize it. You can't stop it completely. But 90% of your primary nutrition should be coming from whole foods, not from junk. And the ratios change today. People are getting 50% of their daily food from packets, boxes, fast food restaurants. You are going to have health problems. So the point is, your meals are simple. It doesn't matter from where you come. In fact, the simpler the food, the healthier you're going to be. So the second is exercise. It doesn't matter where we are. Make 20 to 30 minutes for your body every day. A mix of something that, challenges your muscle, like body weight exercises. I'm not even saying the gym, and walking, activity. 30 minutes a day is a minimum. If it makes you feel good, 1 hour a day, because no matter where we are, which city, we all have 24 hours, right? It's how we use those 24 hours. Now, when it comes to sleep, some people may have, because of their job roles, different sleep timings, and that's absolutely okay. The point is your body getting the amount of sleep and the quality of sleep it needs? So whether my job makes me sleep at midnight or 10 or 9, whatever it is, if my body needs roughly between 7 to 8 hours of sleep, I need to get that. And it's got to be quality sleep. So you
No,
see,
I'm just
yeah.
segueing into this, since you're big on you talk a lot about sleep
Mm-hmm.
and quality of sleep. And again, you touched upon it, the reality of some of us, city life maybe at one end, distractions at one end, social media always on, we are on our devices, perhaps connected for wrong and right reasons. Uh, and also, send some of our shift working people. So what is your advice to us? How do we get good sleep? What are the maybe some hacks that you should be telling us to take to
Yeah.
promote that?
See, it's simple. I'm not here to stop people from using social media, but if you're overusing it, it's personal responsibility to stop it. Most people's sleep is affected today because they're sleeping at different timings every day. It doesn't matter. If you're on shift work, you'll also have a rhythm that you need to sleep at a particular time. Try to keep your sleep time, at least till the weekend, your sleep time and your wake up time the same, irrespective of what shift you're doing. Two, if you're looking at your phone in a dark room right before bed, all of these things are going to prevent you from sleeping. It's natural. Blue light will suppress melatonin that helps you sleep better. try to make your room as dark as possible. And in case you can't, lights coming in from the curtains and stuff, try to use those masks that at least create darkness for you, because darkness actually puts you into deeper sleep. The 30 minutes before bedtime is extremely important. If you're thinking about stressful things, you're thinking about what went wrong in the day, what to do tomorrow, that is not going to allow you to sleep, because the body can sleep only when it's relaxed, when the mind is relaxed. So that 30 minutes is usually for, winding down, maybe a little bit of meditation or prayer, or listening to some of your favorite music, doing something that's calming you down, preparing you to sleep so that your mind can be relaxed and your body can fall, deeper into a sleep. They're not eating late night meals. That's a very bad habit that we have in our country. People eat late night meals, which actually affects their quality of sleep, their blood sugar levels, their weight, their hormones, and everything else. So start planning your meals according to your sleep time. Try to keep at least a gap of 3 hours between your last meal and your sleep time. That's going to help you sleep better as well. So these are the most simplest hacks. And, we say sleep is the most important thing because sleep controls everything in the body: your hormones, your weight, your detoxification, your brain health, your energy. So sleep is compromised, your next day is never going to be great. It's going to be more caffeine to keep you awake, more choices of sugary foods. And it's actually when your body gets healthy, it restores, it resets when we sleep. And that's why sleep is so important for us. And again, it doesn't matter where we are. We'll always, as humans, find excuses because we want to watch the next series, the next serial. We're also addicted to this content, but it's fine, but cut it off. We have to be disciplined that this is my bedtime. I get into bed at this time. Weekends, enjoy yourself, but come back on track.
All right, that's and then look, just extension. You talk a lot about deep sleep. I think maybe you can demystify this a little bit. Should we have to be wearing all these wearables to get
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I mean, I'm not against wearables, but people are becoming more anxious with the data that wearables give. It's human common sense to know in the morning whether you slept well or not. When you wake up in the morning, where if I need more sleep, you're sleep deprived. You don't need a gadget to tell you that. You don't need to get into REMs and non-REMs because none of those gadgets can claim accuracy. So now it starts putting fear in people that, oh, my REM was bad, my non-REM. Most people don't even understand what it is. There's a little explanation by the device telling you this is, and you're like, wow. The whole point is, this is nature. No animals around us require gadgets to tell them what to do. They do what the fundamentals are. They move, they rest, they digest, they sleep, they move. It's actually the same thing that humans need to do. So I would say simplify life. Now, I use a gadget, I use a watch, but I just use it for steps because I have a sitting job. I'm looking at patients every day. So it's a great benchmark for me that, oh, I did just 3,000 steps. Let me walk. So use the data as a benchmark, but there is no wearable device, not one on this planet, that is accurate enough to tell you what is really happening in your body. They're just great data points. And we're living in a world of data, but the issue is not an absence of data. The issue is an absence of action. So even though someone's watch is telling them you're sleep deprived, my question is, what are you doing about it? Most people are like, it's just data. They're not really trying to get better. Some people are. So to get deep sleep, you have to do the same things that I spoke about. The more relaxed your mind is before bed, the deeper you're going to sleep. The darker your room, the deeper you're going to sleep. So these are the things that are natural. They're called circadian rhythms. And the sooner we align to that, the better we're going to be.
All right. So, I'm just leading into another thing which comes up for me since we talk about being relaxed and again, talk about work-life stress. We work in office environments, decision-making, targets, travel, and stuff like that. How do we deal with this? I think we talk about all this, things about mind spaces, the apps are doing well, and and you also from your narrative, tell us more about it. How do we deal with all of this?
See, work-life balance today has been made into a media propaganda in most cases. It's real, but it's not always the fault of an organization. And I'll tell you what I mean. I've done talks at several organizations, and when you actually count and look at the data of employees who are burning out, they're few in number. Now you take these employees and you sit down with them. Why are they burning out? Some of them may have a toxic work environment, very few. The others are sleep deprived, excessively smoking, excessively drinking, eating the wrong diet, which in turn is depleting their energy. Fine, you're working 16 hours, but after that, you go home and you sleep. You don't go out and you club and you party and you drink and come back more tired to work, which results in burnout. Most human beings are burning themselves out, irrespective of their work environment. I know organizations where people work 8 hours and they're still burning out. So it's not really the hours always that counts. And that's where I feel, you know, as organizations, we need to have a different perspective of what work-life balance is. Like if any employee is sleep deprived, they are already burning out. They're burning out because they're sleep deprived. Now, if they're sleep deprived because of the environment of work or because they're working 18 hours a day, yes, there is a role that organizations can play. But if they're burning out because they've just chosen to sleep less, personal responsibility. Yeah. We have to be honest with ourselves today. Most problems are because of a lack of personal responsibility. I can guarantee you that organizations can give all of their employees free gym memberships, free diet plans, but the usage of that will not even be more than 2 to 3%. So it's not a lack of the tools. It's a lack of personal responsibility. So I actually feel that we have to wake up as individuals today and realize that, hey, I'm doing well on nutrition, but I'm poor on my exercise. Maybe I should improve that for the next 3 months. Or I'm great with my nutrition, but I'm bad in sleep. It's our personal responsibility. No organization or no one should ever be responsible for someone else's what they need to do for them. So I like to tackle this problem with absolute honesty. Where are we taking personal responsibility as individuals? I don't even want to use the word employees because we're all human beings. Do I need someone to tell me to work out every day? Do I need to watch 10 reels to tell me to eat every day? You know, we all know these things. So it's really a lack of action. Yeah. You know, people can also burn out with the amount of time spent on social media and OTT platforms because of the continuous production of dopamine. After a while, you don't have it anymore. You're depleted, you're tired, and then you start to feel stressed out with everything. So it's so important for us to actually, you know, reevaluate each of our lives and find out what really is the truth as to why we're unable to achieve work-life balance. And some people genuinely have a problem. Their caregivers, parents are sick, they're working, there's a lot of travel time, there are many of those problems. And that's where we can come together to work and help these people navigate through those difficult times. For a lot of other people, it's a lack of action. Yeah. So if we want to solve a problem, we have to be honest with it, right? So
no, amazing perspective, and I think I like the candor in this answer. It's just such a phenomenally clear perspective you have. Thank you for sharing. Another thing that and again, I have so many questions I can't tell you, so I'm just prioritizing my questions. So, look, we also, as we are a 109-year-old company, tenured employment, was in a sense of some late, in the mid-50s and thereabouts. Any specific advice for that segment of our employees from an age category point of view? Isn't it? Because I think this is where we're finding a lot of chronic conditions coming up. Any specific pieces that you want to highlight there?
Absolutely. What we need to understand that aging is actually a privilege. We're privileged to age, but we should age gracefully. All right. So if we're having more problems as we're aging, it means that we're not taking care of ourselves completely. Okay, because aging doesn't mean more disease. Aging doesn't mean more chronic conditions. Most chronic conditions are lifestyle conditions, but it's never too late to start. I have patients who are turning around at even 70 years of age because the body's resilient. So the first thing is after 50, you want to make sure that you're doing your yearly checkup, complete panel, all of your blood tests, your 2D echoes, your stress test. Number one, get your data right. Number two, the kind of exercise you do cannot just be walks and yoga. You need to strength train because that's what's going to help you challenge muscle. That's going to help you keep your bones strong, your balance in place. Because as we age, we start to deplete more and more muscle, which in turn creates more and more bone problems and stability problems. So I would want everyone after 50, if you have the use of your legs and hands, you should be strength training at least twice a week. Very, very important. Number three, your sleep is so important for you. As we age, our sleep hours may come down. but the quality of sleep should stay the same. So if it's 6 hours, 6 hours of good sleep. It's the same advice for everyone, really, the sleep. Then emotional wellness. This is when most people will find that, I'm moving more into spirituality or I'm stressed out, because we realize as we age and as we mature that many of things that we're trying to control are out of our control. So that's when we bring in spirituality or spiritual angles and all of those things. And that's a good thing to have. If you're after 50 as well, I would encourage you to have a hobby. Don't make work your only thing. Have something that you also enjoy, because that's what you're going to need when you're 60 and 70 as you retire or your work reduces. So it's good to start preparing for that right now. My final advice is don't let age be a number of limitation for you. More people feel their age and blame their issues on age, but it's actually a lifestyle issue or a habit issue. And we say, 50. People put themselves, I'll slow down now, I'll get the bone pains, I'll get this and get that. No, not necessary. It would be true if everyone after 50 had the same problems, but everyone after 50 doesn't have the same problems. So it is our choices, it is our habits, and it is our lifestyle. So keep it simple.
It's very reassuring, Luke. One is in their segment, so I think this is very just I think there's a lot of promising stuff for people in our age category. Coming to one more key thing that you've been talking about meditation, and I keep coming back to it. A whole lot of us have talked about it, experimented with it, and yet it just remains a little elusive. Are there any practical tips that you have, or maybe we need to find our own way in some of these things?
See, everyone doesn't have to meditate. You come across someone who is genuinely happy, gets through problems by just, this is life, I accept it. They don't need to meditate. We need to meditate for clarity. We need that silence in case our lives are moving too fast. So for some people, meditation is prayer. For some people, meditation is a walk in nature. For some people, meditation is just sitting in silence. For some people, meditation is a mantra or listening to someone guiding you and taking you through steps. All of them are beautiful because in that space, we have more clarity of thought because we're moving so fast in life. But meditation doesn't have to be the way it is on social media for everyone, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You could have 5 minutes of deep breath work and you feel so calm. That was meditation. You were focused on your inhale and your exhale. So I encourage people to do it just because the pace of life is so fast, and these little 5-minute meditations or 10 minutes are little anchors during the day to bring down cortisol, adrenaline, align us, bring mindfulness. Like if you ask me, why do I meditate? I don't meditate for peace. I meditate to become more mindful so that I can make better choices. I can be more mindful in my reactions. I can be more mindful with certain decisions. So for me, meditation is mindfulness. For someone else, it may be peace. For someone else, it may be just calm or because I enjoy that quietness. So we shouldn't make it a task, but I definitely advise people to explore it. The easiest way, just go onto YouTube. There are tons of guided meditation. Just type in whatever you're feeling. 10-minute meditation for anxiety, example. Put your headphones on, close your eyes, and listen. You don't even have to try to meditate. Someone's guiding you. And if you feel good after that, then I like guided meditations. That's what I like. Sometimes you may just say, I want to sit in silence for 10 minutes. Pure silence. Thoughts are coming, thoughts are going. So that's how we should look at meditation in a very holistic way.
Yeah. And look, I'm just leading to another very key part, which is, I'm sure you would have been addressing it, is the entire thing about the mental issues these days. I think we talk about maybe depression and various forms of other things that are manifesting today, more with young people, actually, surprisingly so, counterintuitively so. What is your perspective on it? And how organizations like us should deal with it? I think it's also as much as what is your perspective, but how, as organization, we should be dealing with it.
You're talking about mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah. So see, we have to first understand what is mental health. Exactly what is mental health. There can be good mental health and there can be poor mental health. So mental health starts with thoughts, right? They're not behaviors. Behaviors are outcome of thoughts. So my poor mental health, if I'm thinking from a very pessimistic angle, I'm going to have pessimistic thoughts. Pessimistic thoughts means I'm going to have pessimistic emotions and feelings. and I'm going to behave according to my emotions and feelings. Okay. So mental health, one of the best ways to look at it very holistically is to get people to actually express not what their problems are, but what their thoughts are. You see, as a world today, we're always trying to fix people's problems. Okay. It's not about that. I can have 100 problems which are not your problems at all, which are my problems, which I need to deal with. But when we understand what thoughts am I having, like are my employees having thoughts of fear, thoughts of loneliness, thoughts of a lack of love, thoughts of anger, and then you get enough of data points to really put together programs to handle this, because everything starts from a thought. That's why it's called mental. Emotional health doesn't start with an emotion. It starts with a thought, because you can only have an emotion when there's a thought. So even if I say something negative to you right now, it's not what I'm saying negative that's going to affect you. But my negative word or sentence to you has created a thought in your mind. That thought has resulted in your feeling and your emotion. So even when you look at patients of a depression and you say, oh, their mental health is bad, no, their thought process, their thought pattern needs to be worked on. That's how it is. So you really need to break down mental health. Mental health is not about, I don't have time for a workout, I don't have things. Now, all these things, of course, exercise can have a positive impact on mental health because it generates endorphins that makes you feel good. Anything that makes you feel good is a good thing, except, of course, drugs and alcohol and excessive vices and stuff like that. So that's how you look at mental health.
Yeah. And one more piece of sharing, keen to have your thoughts on it is, look, how do managers equip themselves to deal with this? Because I think end of the day they are experiencing it. They are and perhaps in our case sometimes there is an intergenerational gap as well, because
Yes.
there is a perhaps a 40 late 40 20 early 20s reporting to a late 40s kind of a structure. How do we deal and equip our managers to deal with such a sensitive issue?
See, I think in these cases, right, managers can never be therapists because they're not trained for that and it's not their job. The best thing is to give a gift of understanding to people, because everyone is different. And two, people want to be heard. Anyone who's challenging a system, challenging a rule, challenging whatever, it's coming from a deeper space of they want to be heard completely. Managers today, in today's times, especially with all the generational gaps and stuff like that, actually have to get better at listening rather than judging and reacting. They have their valid reasons to judge and react. But again, because there's a generational gap, it's only going to add more fuel to fire. So it requires managers to exhibit a lot more patience, which I know is a difficult thing to get the work done, to manage people and emotions and stuff like that. At the same time, it'll be wrong for me not to talk about the fact that discipline has to be used as the right tool. Society today, workplaces are being emotionally controlled by people, and that makes the workplace and people weaker because we're afraid to resort to discipline. We're afraid to resort to rules and regulations because we don't know whose feelings it will affect and what's going to happen. But nothing works in the world without discipline. No family works without discipline, no relationship works without discipline, and all of these things. So there has to be, I believe managers have to be coached into learning a fine line between exercising discipline, exercising listening, exercising response more than action, because it's a difficult role and it will always be a difficult role, right? We can't use just authority and hierarchy anymore in today's times, but we can use parts of it, but we can't use every part of it, which worked maybe 10 years ago. So that's how we need to look at things moving forward. Yeah.
Well, as a HR practitioner, it is as a complete answer I've got for many years, perhaps. So thank you, Luke. You phenomenal perspective. Uh, in a lot of ways, perhaps I will want to just look at. We talk about all these plans, and we also look at motivation. Where do we just get this internal energy? Look at you. You're just effusing. I can see it across the screen. There's so much of energy, passion coming through, and you require a lot of them to into the journey of wellness, fitness. Where do we get all of that? Maybe there are any perspectives that you can
Yeah.
share
So
with
the
us.
first perspective is motivation is the wrong word. See, if everyone looks around today, right, look at society. We should be happier. We should be healthier. But it's the opposite as per statistics. Because over the last 10 to 15 years, whether it's the media, whether it's huge parts of society, governments across the world, they thrive on keeping people weak, emotionally weak, because then they're controllable. If people are emotionally strong, they cannot be controlled. Only emotionally weak societies can be controlled by media, by governments, by businesses, or whatever it is. So, coming back to the whole point of motivation, think about it. Motivation is only for people who have not yet decided that they want to achieve something. So, they need motivation. I need 10 YouTube videos to go to the gym. Now, we have to move from a mindset and perception, a perspective of motivation to inspiration. When you are inspired to do your job well, when you are inspired to look after your health, when you're inspired to be a great parent, what happens is you don't need motivation. So, my simple advice to everyone is, what is your why? If your why is weak, you need motivation every day. If your why is strong, you never need motivation. Like my why to go to the gym or to exercise should be so strong, I don't need to be told, go to the gym. I need to go to the gym because my health is important. If I don't have health, I can't live a quality life. I can't work. I can't look after my family. I can't look after myself. Now, those are my whys to do it. Before getting onto this call, I have an intention. What is my intention? I want to plant some seeds into your audience. Some seeds may grow, some may not grow today, they may grow 5 years later. That's my intention. So that's my why to share what I'm doing. So if we keep our whys strong, like when people come, Luke, I want to stop smoking. I'm saying that's great, but why? Because if their why is not strong enough, they're never going to stop. They're going to waste my time. They're going to waste their time. So a patient comes to me, Luke, treat me. I want to know their why. Why do you want to get better? Because if their why is weak, they're going to waste my time. They're not going to be disciplined. They're not going to do what they need to. So we'll still treat them, but we then have to coach them into getting a stronger why. So that's my advice to everyone. Motivation weakens societies. Then you're dependent on someone to keep motivating you every morning. You're dependent on all of these sources. We shouldn't be that way. Our why has to be so strong that I can learn from motivational speakers. I can take inspiration from motivation, but I'm not dependent on motivation to live my life.
Wow, good. And I was turning this thing to Luke yourself. Where did you all start all of this? I thought I've just read that 13 years you've been in this space, but where is this inspiration coming from? Maybe I can just have a little bit of a life story as it is for our benefit of our company.
My inspiration comes from my patients. Most of my learnings have come from my patients. We deal with dying patients, and dying patients teach you the best life lessons that no one living can actually teach you because they're not dying. When you're in a situation of dying, the truth comes out. Everything comes out because no one has anything to hide. So I've learned from their stories. I've learned from their everything and stuff. And I try to incorporate that into my, trainings and my teachings and my coachings with my patients as well, because death is a beautiful teacher, right? Until then, everyone has a perception, everyone has an opinion, everyone has a philosophy, but death really gives you the best lessons in life.
Oh, that's so powerful. So, Luke, last message for Tata Power and its employees from you.
I think I would just go with your company name, Tata Power, provides power for our lives to be better. You need to power yourself up with exactly what I said. Nutrition, keep it simple. Movement, make it your personal responsibility. Sleep, you compromise your sleep, you're going to have problems. And emotional wellness is a very debatable situation. We all have problems. Everyone has something that'll make them sad. Everyone has something going wrong. But at some point, we need to accept these things and focus on the things that are going right. Do what you need to do to make your situation better, but never forget to focus on what is also going right in your life, because that becomes your anchor to keep you going.
Oh my, amazing. Luke, thank you so very much. It has been a phenomenal conversation. I think, we have all personally, I benefited. I'm sure a lot of our employees will benefit. I think it is, when it comes from you, it looks coming straight from the heart. I just, your passion of this subject is so infectious. And thank you so very much for
Thank you.
giving us the time.
Thank you so
Really
much for
appreciate it.
having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.